This leader is provided to facilitate adjustment of focus. Please be aware there are spoilers contained in this video presentation.
These feet are made for walking. Tuck in and you will see. We are gonna be walking throughout all these movies. 3.
Very nice, very nice. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, directed by Peter Jackson, released in 2001. It won for cinematography, makeup, score, visual effects, and it was nominated for Picture, Supporting Actor for Gandalf, Writing, Directing, Art Direction, Costume Design, Editing, Song, and Sound. Yeah,
That's a bunch.
It is. It's important to remember, just how monumental it coming out was. That was a period of time where you went on the Thursday night and hung out, and then you went to the movie at midnight and watched 3 hours of movie and fell asleep and then had to watch it again so that you could tell people that you were there. I remember being really swept up in it. I read it at that point, all the books.
Going back and watching Sorcerer's Stone, he's just walking around, magic! And it's not as pronounced in this one, but there's still all of the scenes of the breathtaking landscapes of New Zealand where everybody's coming over that hill and just kind of looking around. But especially the fights in the mines where they're jumping on trolls and things like that. I mean, it was 2001. It was 20 years ago. So, it's not super surprising that the visual effects aren't to where they are now.
I mean, I remember seeing it in the movie theaters with you guys.
This is the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron.
I was vaguely aware of the story. I know by the third act, that's when everything just comes together. But actually, the second one I liked more. This was kind of a build-up where it's okay, you guys are walking around, I get it. You get caught, you escape, you do this, you do that. It's okay, now let's get ready for something really crazy.
Well, I thought the Nazgul, I just remember they were terrifying. The way that they were shot and the color correction was with everything, and they were always writing and constantly searching, relentless.
Oh, so Kai Holtenbrown, construction lady that she was so if you excavate underneath a tower like that, that tower is going to fall down. And I don't care how much magic you have holding it up. That is not how you excavate. Yeah.
Suspension of disbelief. What can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when it came out, and I mean, who doesn't? But I remember it framed where we're right on the heels of 9/11. Everybody is still a bit in shock and traumatized about it. And a couple months later, it finally hits the theaters, and it is the big dose of escapism that everybody needed.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Was there a Potter that hit the theaters at Thanksgiving?
That was exactly how it came out. These two came out back to back.
It was a double shot that everybody really needed. And anybody who was paying attention realized that Mr. Jackson was setting the bar at a place it had never been in terms of epic storytelling, with all respect to some of the franchises that had come before. But it's this, not only did this guy get it right, he got it really right.
Yeah.
And this is going to take a while, and we are glad it's going to take a while, because what's going on outside the theater sucks.
There's something down there.
I remember somebody wandering through the shop going, "It can't be good. It's Tolkien, Doug." Now, I don't know why you're so excited about this movie, Doug.
I will fall on my forged sword on that one. I'd seen it a couple times. I think I might have seen it on the clock at one point. We were doing something in some theater, and it was going to take all frickin' day. And I managed to go and, in the spirit of you guys, movie hop right down the hall and saw a viewing of Fellowship. I'd seen it, and this time I was really focusing on it, and I'm this is really awesome. This is fantastic, and let's go.
It's-
Let's go with
and
this thing.
somebody's paying me to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And this is going to take 3 hours, and there's no fat. There's no fat in this thing. I mean, what Dave's talking about the relentless stress and tension throughout this thing, because the bad guys are so freaking convincing and dominating that it's like he's going to stretch this for 3 movies. Man, people are going to be mentally tired, and good, because they needed it.
Well, and I think that it's important to keep in mind that without this series of movies, I don't think we get the Marvel Universe. Nobody would have attempted.
You think?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it until you were talking about it. But to work on scale like that, without this particular work at this level, thinking that you could build that enormous a story out, nobody had really even attempted building something that big. And I mean, the Marvel Universe dwarfs it. They didn't build it in kind of the same way.
And I agree with that. On the flip side, it's also a case of let's finally just keep it simple, stupid. In the past, you had these big franchises, Indiana Jones, you had Star Trek, you had Star Wars, and they were ginning up stories as they went. And they had to come up with, well, what do we do with it now? As opposed to Tolkien and Marvel, it's like, let's just use the existing source material. These guys have had forever to get it right. We'll pick the best of the best. Looking at Lord of the Rings, all we have to do is tell the story and get that right. We don't have to write anything new. All we got to do is figure out what to leave out.
They are coming.
You take a look at the path in between those is the Harry Potter franchise, starting off with the Sorcerer's Stone, and that they had the base and were able to write the stories as it went along.
And it is like you have your source material and you go, we're going to give you a 3-hour movie of this one chunk of it. And you're going to start to build up with that. And then we'll give you the middle part and then have like a resolution at the end. It's like, once you kind of have a common goal in mind, that's probably producers too, where they're like, you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this. And that will kind of iron out like everything where you have a good product all the way through. Marvel has had its hiccups. DC's had a lot of its hiccups.
Okay, so to get us back, breakfast is at 7 a.m., second breakfast is at 9, 11sies is at 11, lunch is at 1, afternoon tea is at 3, dinner is at 6, and supper is at 9.
All of which was ignored by Aragorn.
Yeah.
Right.
He just didn't really have time for any of that.
Busy man.
Girlfriend's an elf,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
the daughter of a rock star. So
no ukuleles once again in this movie.
I could say 4 ukuleles pretty easily.
4
on this
ukuleles
one.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came back to it after years to get the boys spun up on it, and they were interested in it. And I sat and watched it, and I'm like, wow, this is really good.
It's over!